God is my source. God is my power. He gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. I'm going to stop it right there. So I give thanks for all my blessings. How many of you know that you are blessed? Thank you. I was going to be a little disappointed if nobody raised their hand or said anything. Just wanted to make sure it wasn't just me who understood that. The 13th century poet Rumi said, "Wear gratitude like a cloak, and it will feed every corner of your life." Wear gratitude like a cloak, and it will feed every corner of your life. The Metaphysical Bible Dictionary says, "Gratitude and thanksgiving are both necessary in demonstrating prosperity through divine law." So if you want to activate your prosperity, which is what we're talking about this month, you activate it beginning with gratitude, with thanksgiving. In Lesson 10 of Lessons in Truth, H. Emily Cady said, "The attitude of thankfulness opens the way for the fulfillment of our righteous desires. For thankfulness is the action of both faith and love, the faith that perceives that good is awaiting our claim, and the love that unifies us with the good we long to manifest in mind, body, and spirit." Probably nothing works more quickly, according to Cady, to make the mind receptive and responsive to God's ideas than gratitude and thanksgiving. For these attitudes of mind fill us with the expectancy of the added things promised by Jesus. So when we talk about the added things, we're talking about Matthew 6:33, which says that we are to seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. And then it says, "And all these things will be added unto you." So as we seek, all those things are coming to us. As we talked about last week, there's a law that says, as we give, so we shall receive. And as we're giving and as we're receiving, it's that flow of prosperity. It's the flow of life. It's the flow of consciousness that we're in the middle of. So thankfulness and gratitude are our key. And understand that the gratitude that we give isn't for God. That's for us. That's us aligning our mind and our thoughts with that of God. And it's being grateful for all the things that we already have. Now, sometimes with the outer circumstances of life, it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot to be grateful for. I get that. I fully understand that. I've explained to you before, I've been in that spot on occasion in my life. But as I learn and I look forward more and I look beyond where my outer circumstances are, I can see just how wonderfully blessed that I am. And if you can think of nothing else to be grateful for, be grateful for breath. Be grateful for your life. For with that, we can move forward in this universe to do more. Gratitude allows our head and our heart to align, and gratitude turns what we have into enough. It turns and allows us to be grateful for what there is while still aspiring for more. There's nothing that says you can't want more. That's perfectly fine. It just says be grateful for what you have while you're working toward that more. Gratitude leads us to happiness. It's a dopamine kind of thing that we've talked about before. Gratitude reduces anxiety and enhances feelings of well-being. Any of you anxious? Gratitude, my friends. When I have an anxiety attack, I immediately stop what I'm doing and start thinking of all the wonderful things in my life. That helps me move beyond that. Helps me move beyond that time of anxiety and those anxious moments that I find myself in. So I have a friend who says that I'm not blessed, that I'm lucky. So I decided to look up lucky. And I found a study that was done in 2003 by a British psychologist, and his name is, let me get it right, Richard Wiseman. And he did a study of people who are both lucky and those who are unlucky. I don't know if any of you know the study or have ever looked at it, but it's a very interesting study to me. And please understand, these weren't where I went out into the crowd and went, "You're lucky, you're unlucky." No. These were people who self-identified as either lucky or unlucky. And in the lucky group were people who had not only won the lottery, but some who had won it multiple times. And in this group of lucky people, these were the people who saw themselves as optimistic, resilient, confident, extroverted. I thought that was interesting. And they were people who had developed coping mechanisms for how to get through their life. The unlucky people, on the other hand, were those who always felt like everything was stacked against them. Life was always out to get them. Life was always going to make them the loser in every situation. And they weren't happy about that. They weren't happy where they found themselves and where they were in life. And when they were self-described as unlucky, they said that they always had a bad experience and they dwelled on the bad. Lucky versus unlucky. So there were a lot of tests that they did in this study to see how people who were lucky and unlucky reacted to things. My favorite of all the tests was they told them they were going to do an interview with them. So they set up an interview in a cafe, and they told them there's been some construction around the cafe, so this is the one route that you have to take to get to the interview. And along that route, they placed cameras. And then along that route, they placed my personal favorite, $100 bills. So they said as the unlucky people walked, they were so frightened about the interview and so anxious about the fact that they might say something wrong and get it wrong, that they took every step of the path looking toward that anxiety. So they're nervous, they're frightened about getting it wrong, and you can't get wrong an interview that just says, are you lucky or unlucky? How do you mess that up? Yet they thought they could. So it says that they never looked toward the floor to see the $100 bills that had been scattered along the way. They never saw the chance for the opportunity to do more than what they were already doing. The lucky, on the other hand, were confident. They weren't concerned at all about the interview. They knew that they were going to do it, and they were going to do it well. So they had this opportunity to share their experiences with other people. And as they went down the path, they saw the dollar bills, and they were smart. They picked them up. Lucky, unlucky. So where do you find yourself? How do you view yourself? One of the things that I think is most important in our unity teachings is that we teach ourselves that we can be lucky. What we're really teaching ourselves is to be grateful for that which we already have and to look towards the future with gratitude, knowing that we can be even more powerful and more wonderful than we already are. And as I said already, you are totally worthy and lovely and wonderful. Just keep remembering that. If you remember nothing else today, walk out of here knowing that you are lovely, worthy, and wonderful. So we teach ourselves that we can be better, that we can move forward with gratitude. We teach ourselves to be, if you will, lucky. And when we think about being lucky, we think about just not worrying about everything in the world. How many of you are worriers? I'm just going to go ahead and raise both hands. Because there are days when I spend more time worrying about stuff than I do thinking about how grateful I am for what's going on. Some days just seem to be that way, where all I think about is what could possibly go wrong if this happens. What could possibly go wrong if? When I first got the notice that I had the tumors in my body a couple of years ago, I spent an entire day worrying about what could possibly happen next. What would I do if? And all that if went away. Because all I had to do was sit and pray and think about the gratitude that I have for the things I already have. And for me, that was a healing process. Now, it was healing of my internal body, but it was mostly healing of my mind. Of me to step forward and to know that I can do better, that this isn't something I have to worry about this, that between God and I, we got this, and we can move forward with everything that's going on. I read a quote that says, change clears space for the right doors to open in our life, but it's not always easy between the doors. Sometimes there's going to be a little bit of anxiousness. Sometimes there's going to be some of that worry that we do. But the next door is going to open, and we move forward through those doors one at a time, being grateful for what we have, because gratitude is a magnet for attracting good to ourselves. When we consider ourselves lucky, it just means we've learned the art of thanksgiving and gratitude, looking at the good that's going on. Again, those outer circumstances cause us to look at the other areas, but think about all that you have to be grateful for. In the book, or Chris Gentry, who wrote the book, The Little Book of Prosperity, The 12 Principles of Wealth and Abundance, he tells the story of riding down the street with his son in the back seat. So the kid must have been fairly young to be still in the back seat. And he said they pulled up to a stoplight, and he looked over and he saw this vacant lot. And the lot had graffiti on it, broken concrete. It was all built up. And he said before he thought about it, he just said out loud, "What a dump." And he said his son in the back seat said, "But Daddy, it's beautiful." Because the son saw one flower in the middle of all the dumpy stuff. It's all in how we look at things sometimes. And that's what he said. His son saw the beauty where he saw the trash. We need to train ourselves to look for that beauty in every situation. And again, I'm not saying this is an easy thing to do. I tell you guys all the time that basically this is just my group therapy session. You have the privilege of being in it because I talk to me and then hope that works for you too. But that's where I've been lately, seeing the beauty, looking beyond what the problem might be or what I perceive the problem to be, and looking for the beauty in life and the beauty in all the things around me. And I believe I can train myself to see that beauty. I believe you can train yourself to see the beauty. And again, that's what Unity teaches us, is that gratitude and presence are important in all that we do. So to practice gratitude, there are a couple of things I want you to try this week. One is a gratitude journal. When you wake up, for some of us that's later than others, for some of us it's very early, I encourage you, if you don't have time to write it down, but I encourage you to write it down, to think of 5 things for which you are grateful before you get out of bed and before you start moving your day. What are you grateful for that morning? Again, if you can write them down, that's great. Put those things down and maybe add to them throughout the day. And at the end of the day, read what it is you had to be grateful for that day. Maybe you've added people to the list. Maybe you added your pets to the list. Just think about what it is you're grateful for and watch how your attitude will change. There's another exercise, but this one takes a little more time. I want you to take a piece of paper and write the 5 things on it that matter most to you in life. Whatever they are. Might be your kids, your grandkids, whatever it is that is most important to you. I want you to write that down. Then I want you to take another piece of paper, fold it longwise so that you have 2 sides. And for the next 5 days, I want you to write on this side what day it is. And then on this side, I want you to write everything you do that day. That's the part that takes time. Write down just how busy you are all day. Do it for 5 days. On the 5th day, end of the 5th day or the beginning of the 6th day, take that list and sit it next to your list you made of what's most important to you. And see how many of those important things are on the list of all the things you're doing all day long. A lot of us are shocked when we compare the two. I even made my list of 10 things, trying to get more of them on that list of all the stuff I did all day. And they still weren't there. Because I was spending all of my time, all of my energy doing things that weren't important to me, that didn't matter. Do what matters to you. Do what you're passionate about. Spend your time working on that, not worrying about all the different things you've got to get done for work and for family and all of that kind of stuff. So sit down and think about what is important, what matters to you, and then work on being present for those moments. Mike Robbins, who is the author, I love this book, Be Yourself, Everybody Else Is Already Taken, is an inspirational speaker, and he also was a baseball player. And his entire life he spent trying to become a great baseball player. He finally made it to the minor leagues, and in his third year in the minor leagues, he threw a pitch and threw his arm out. So his career was done. And a reporter asked him, "So, anything you regret in all of this?" And his response was, "My biggest regret was that I was so busy trying to make it that I didn't appreciate any of the moments where I was." He spent all of his time comparing himself to others, thinking he wasn't good enough, thinking himself not worthy, and working on getting ahead without pausing to appreciate that present moment. I don't know if you're good at being in the moment or not. I'm not. Just being honest. Take the time to be in the moment. I quit taking pictures of things because I found I was so busy taking pictures of beautiful oceans that I forgot to enjoy the beautiful ocean. Sometimes we just have to slow it down and change the way we do things so that we can enjoy those moments that we're in the middle of. We need to manifest what we really want in this world. We need to set an intention to get what it is we want in this world. Reverend Catherine Ponder said, "You're prosperous to the degree that you're experiencing peace, health, happiness, and plenty in your world." Peace, health, happiness, and plenty. That is our prosperity. I encourage you to work on that as you think about what it is you're grateful for. Set an intention for gratefulness. I was told a joke, because y'all know all my friends like to tell me jokes because I like them. And it was the story of this little boy who wanted a dog. And he kept asking his mom and dad if he could get a dog. And he finally was crying to one of his other friends, and he goes, "I want a dog, and my mom refuses to get it for me for my birthday." So his friend said, "I have a new dog." He said, "So when I was telling my grandmother that my mom wouldn't let me have a dog either, she told me to change my view of things and to change what I was asking for." So Grandma understood intention. Change what it is you're looking for. And he said, so what you need to do is every day walk up to your mom and your dad and tell them both that you want a baby brother. And if you do that enough, you'll get the dog. We need to learn to set our intention. We need to set the intention for exactly what we want and move forward with that and move deeper into our own consciousness so that we realize the desires of our heart. So I'm going to ask Jody to come up. And this morning we're going to practice gratitude. We're going to use this as our time of meditation. So I'm going to ask you to become comfortable where you are. If you're comfortable doing so, I invite you to close your outer eyes. And I want you to think about gratitude. What is it that you are most grateful for? And I'm going to give you some prompts. So this morning, I want you to be grateful and to show gratitude and thanksgiving for our Unity founders, for our co-founders, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore. Express your gratitude for them. I invite you to give thanks and gratitude for the founders of Christ Church Unity and Unity of Central Florida. Those who started this church in just a small group, a very small study group that then expanded and became Unity of Central Florida. I invite you to express your gratitude for those people. I invite you to express your gratitude for the ministers who served in this community. Some of you have been here a very long time and worked with a lot of our ministers. So I encourage you to think about those ministers If you're comfortable doing so, put their names into the universe. And I'm going to be honest enough to say, when you think of some of them, it might lead you to some forgiveness work as well. Realizing that they were doing the very best they knew how to do. Sometimes they made mistakes. Give thanks for our licensed Unity teachers, for Lois, for Janelle. Give thanks for the staff we've had. Say thank you for each one who served and is serving and will serve. Give gratitude for those who are filling in with us, those who are here each week bringing our message. I invite you to pause and give gratitude for our current and our previous board members. That's a tough job. So express gratitude for our board members, current, present, and future. Give gratitude for our current, former, and future prayer chaplains, those who call us during the month, those who pray with us each Sunday after the service, those who hold space for us in everything that we do. Give gratitude for our current and for our former musicians, for our singers, for our worship leaders. We thank them for their talents and the gifts that they share with us each week. Give gratitude for our people who run our AV so that we can both see and hear. Give gratitude for our current and former and future volunteers, the backbone of our church. Give gratitude for all of our members, present members, future members, and former members. Give gratitude and thanksgiving for former, current, and future financial blessings. We are a blessing and we are blessed. Now I invite you to spend some time in the silence, considering gratitude and all the wonderful blessings that you have in your life. I invite you now to come back to this present moment and say with me, thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. And so it is. Amen.